guys, this is Doug Brunner, and we are here on the Toast, and I am very fortunate today. I'm here with Jay Mahil. I called him yesterday out of the blue to ask him to come today, and I really appreciate it because I know you're a pretty busy man. And Jay, for people who don't know, he is, you live in Madera, right? Madera, yeah. Okay. Lives in Madera. He is a large farmer in up and down California, the Central Valley. And Jay is a very well-known, does a lot of good things for the ag industry. And I got the fortunate to sit with him before and just talk to him about some things that he's passionate about. And I think it's important that we look at doing a lot of the things that Jay spends his time on. He's busy. He's in farming. He's got the everyday grind, but yet he's given a lot back to the community. I see it in a lot of the things he does. I hear it up and down, from people, and I just appreciate that because the easy thing is to not do much, and the easy thing is to just manage our own nest. And I just think it's really cool, a lot of things that Jay does. So first of all, I want to thank you for coming.
No problem. Thank you.
And I appreciate it. Jay is the owner, manager of Creekside Farming. They farm, I just asked him, 5 different crops. 5 or 6? 6 now, yeah. Sorry. 6 different crops, all permanent crop.
Yep.
All permanent crop. Jay's been farming his whole life. He's super passionate about it. Your father migrated here from India, correct?
Yeah. My great-grandfather migrated back in 1906.
Okay.
So over 100 years ago.
So was your dad born in India?
My dad was born in India. I was the first generation born
Okay.
here.
So your dad migrated here. Your great-grandfather came here?
Yeah, my great-grandfather migrated here.
Okay,
so he came, and then my grandfather came, and then after my grandfather, my dad came. So my dad was only 12 years old when he came here. Yeah.
Is farming? Did you guys farm in India?
Oh yeah. So long lineage of farming. So
really
came from the state of Punjab out of India.
Okay.
So real kind of like the San Joaquin Valley in Punjab. So real fertile soils, great weather, great water back then.
Okay.
So so because of that, we kept farming once we came in here. So I'm 4th generation farming here, and hopefully my son will be 5th generation farming for our family.
What brought them here?
An opportunity, a change, better opportunity,
yeah.
Just like everybody's ancestors, right? So
yep.
They left their mother countries to, get better opportunities, to come to this land that, had, more to give to them,
Absolutely.
And I praise him because without my great-grandfather coming here, I could be still back in India farming there, So,
yeah.
And, nowadays we're pretty melodramatic, right?
Yep.
So, we have to log on and look at our flights when we're going to go somewhere. It shouldn't be too long of a layover. Is the hotel a nice hotel or this and that? He had a dream and a couple of dollars in his pocket and, left and didn't know when he was going to make it, how long he was going to take, got on a ship and just went, and so,
where did he arrive?
So he came in through San Francisco.
Awesome.
San Francisco.
And where did he establish himself?
So came in through San Francisco and then migrated into the Lodi area. So that's where our family pretty much, started from Lodi, California. And I was born and raised there at the hospital there, Lodi Memorial Hospital in Lodi. And all of my family pretty much that migrated, my dad's uncles, everybody came in through Lodi. So pretty much our whole family history was all through the Lodi area. And then they, as they kind of got settled and worked in the Lodi area from my grandfather, they kind of started coming down south, and that's how.
What was your grandfather's name?
So Paul Singh.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my grandfather's name was Karm Singh Mahil.
Wow.
And so my dad's uncles and their brothers, came to this country. They kind of migrated south and started setting up shops in the Carruthers area, Selma area, and became well settled in these areas. And they kept telling us, hey, better opportunities down to the south, larger farming
plots
operations,
of ground,
plots of ground, Lodi's still a little smaller area, mm-hmm. So a lot of 40s, 80s.
What were they farming in Lodi?
Like grapes, grapes.
Right away,
grapes. So at that time, my grandfather was farming a lot of corn, so silage corn.
Yeah.
We had a dairy close by to us.
Yeah.
And so they farmed that. They had some grapes there, and they did the grapes, and and my dad started farming grapes. And as the family moved down this way, we're farming wine grapes down in the Carruthers area and everything. So better opportunities, larger
Plots
pieces
of
of
ground,
land, cheaper prices compared to the Lodi area.
Yep.
So we in the early mid to 90s, my
Okay.
dad came down this way, and so we created Creekside Farming or Creekside Land Company in 1995. So it's our 25th year as well.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Or 96. Sorry, I take that back. 1996, March of 96, and we've been growing ever since then. It's a family business, and we feel blessed that our ancestors had the notion of taking that dive and wanting to come to this country, and this country's given so much to our family and friends, so it shows you quite a bit how
Absolutely.
the U.S. is. I mean, if you're willing to work, there's an opportunity.
I totally agree with you. I mean, my family comes from Dutch ancestry, as well as my dad's side. I know they came from the Midwest. I don't know exactly, but on the my grandfather, they came from the Netherlands. They came over on
Right.
boat, Friesland, and they had nothing and just they
Working
were
butts off.
dairymen
Yeah, working
there,
butts
and
off.
they came to be dairymen here, and they started milking for somebody else and started something special.
Yeah. No, like I said, it's a testament to this country, right? I mean, if you want to work, you can make something of
Yeah.
yourself. It's just the opportunity's there, but you got to put in the blood, sweat, and tears for it.
So a great segue to what we got to talk about earlier is, I think something that you're passionate about but bothers you a little bit, maybe, is how people visualize agriculture now, especially the youth, right? And we got to talk about that a little yesterday, but just right now, and for young guys on here today, Jay is, there's no doubt, successful, and that, first of all, that is okay in being successful. And that's something to not be ashamed of. It's something to be proud of. But I think people get, like you said, what would you say people look at agriculture as now?
I mean, it's a dying breed, right?
Yeah.
So we go to events and different venues and stuff, and you're seeing the older generation of the farming families and stuff, and it's frustrating when we go to it because, I still consider myself on the younger side of it.
Absolutely.
And I like to always try to promote agriculture to the youth. We need more youth coming into agriculture, because if we don't, it's going to be the conglomerates, right? It's going to be the venture capitalists, the corporations, going to be the farming. We still consider ourselves as a family farming operation.
Yep.
We're a large family farming operation, but we're still a family operation. So we can make decisions on the fly, and
Doesn't have to go back to New York or
no, it doesn't.
wherever, unfortunately, another country.
Exactly.
Whatever it is, right?
So, I tell people we're probably the best stewards of our land. When people start talking about farming and farming, takes up so much water, we pollute, we spray things. I tell people, time out. I live here. I live in a ranch. My house is on one of our ranches. I breathe the same air. My kids breathe the same air. We drink the water. I have a domestic well at the house, so we drink that same water. So I'm not trying to pollute. I'm not trying to do things that are gonna
Hurt your kids.
Yeah, hurt my kids or anything. So we're trying to do the best we can and be the best stewards we can, because I live here, my kids live here, my family lives here. So we're trying to do the best job we can and grow some of the most safest food possible for everybody else to enjoy, just like my family enjoys and stuff. So, it's those types of things that sometimes irk you when people say, "Oh man, you guys just you suck up all the water to grow trees. You spray chemicals that are dangerous to us, and you guys are creating so much dust and all that." And I am thinking, come on, really sit down and think about it a little bit.
It might be healthy for those people to just come out and feel it a little bit, right?
I wish so.
Yeah.
And we invite. I'm lucky that I sit on the Farm Bureau board. We go back to Sacramento, and when we go back there, I love doing the legislative visits and stuff. So we'll meet with different legislators out of the Bay Area, LA, and I pass out my card and I tell them, if you like, anytime, come out and I'll give you a farm tour. I'll show you what we do.
Has anybody took you up?
No, they haven't. They haven't. And
That is kind of sad, right? Because you're coming into their zone.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell them, I go, hey, non-political, non-anything, no cameras, no photo ops. Just come out and see what we do. And then you make that decision of saying, man, did Jay really, pollute? Did Jay really overpump? Let me show you how we do these things and stuff, and how precise we are with our water irrigation, how we monitor, soil moistures, how we do, chemical applications, how we're putting on fertilizers and doing tissue tests and soil sampling, precision on every. Because
we care about people's food.
Yeah, and the cost.
Yep.
The cost that we're, associating with, overdoing things. We're watching that, so. They haven't taken me up on that, and I wish they would, and it's just an open-end, invite to these guys. Just come out and just see what we do, and then, make your own decision after that,
I appreciate that about you, Jay. I got a funny story. It's not a funny story. It's just, when I left the dairy, I grab onto things. I'm fortunate to come from a large dairy family. And then I got to get in farming. And I always knew if I want to be one of the best in farming, I looked at people who are large and, first of all, I'm not the best in farming. So let's take that one back. But I'm not going to lie. I want to be a large farmer. I want to be big. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's competition, right?
It's competition.
It makes you feel good.
It makes you, absolutely.
It's the drive.
And so anyways, I look around the area, who's this, who's that, and you got the Russells and you got the Fagundeses, Mahils, and things like that. And I remember one day I got a phone call from you. This was my second year farming. Do you remember calling me?
Think so? Did I pass you on the road that day?
No. This is like 7 years ago, and you got my number, and you called me because I was farming tomatoes where you just rented that ground, from Ping Ho.
Oh, okay.
And you called me and you said, "Hey, do you mind if I get some drip tape?" And because you wanted it for your ropes, your trees. And I just like, I remember these things because I was 28, 29 years old, and I was like, I just remember, yeah, absolutely. You take all you want, and you're like, hey, thanks, hey, this is my number. I don't know how you got my number, and you're like, hey, save it anytime or whatever. And I was just like, man, I can't believe Jay Mahil called me because, and I challenge, again, this is on entrepreneurs, and I want to get into how Jay got exactly going, but that was like, there's been a few times in my life where I get calls from those type of people, and I'm like, those are the people I'm aspiring to be like, because I want to farm like them on a large scale. I want to do a good job. I want to help the community, and I think we need more of that. So, Jay, what exactly got you going? I know you went to college. You said that was something big for your father for you to go.
Yeah. So, like I said, when my dad migrated here, he came in high school. At that time, education wasn't very high. And his dad said, "Hey, we need extra."
But
hands.
work was.
Yeah, work was. So we need to work, and so he dropped out of high school.
Yep.
He didn't finish high school, and I think he still regrets it. But those are the times, right?
Yep.
And so when, as a kid growing up, obviously you had to finish high school, and it was pressed upon me that, hey, you're going to go to college. You got to get a degree. We want you to come back to the family farming operation, but you're going to go to college and you get a college degree because, nobody in the family has and stuff. So, it was kind of pressed upon me that I needed to do that. So, I did it. I went to Fresno State. I was an ag business a degree guy. Wasn't the best in college, but, I did it, and to me, the farming thing, I'm more of a hands-on guy. I can do stuff. I can think of stuff. I might not be the best, sitting behind a seat and crunching numbers all day long, but, you give me a calculator, I can crunch them pretty quick for you and figure it out. Yeah. So, I did it. We came back to the family operation. We've grown ever since. We've enjoyed it, But again, we go back down to our roots and stuff. There's I always kind of say there's always going to be somebody bigger and better than you. So don't think you're the biggest guy or the best guy, right? There's always going to be somebody bigger and better than you. So
I'll pay you, right?
Yeah, so just stay grounded. Just stay grounded and just say, hey, you know what? This is what I do, and do it the best you think you can do.
how many acres do you guys farm? Well, maybe you don't want to answer that. That's
Farm
fine.
quite a bit. Yeah, we
Yeah.
farm quite a bit of ground.
And compared to what when you came out of college?
We've probably doubled, tripled our ground since,
Wow.
since we've been there.
That's
So,
pretty incredible.
yeah. So, it's, but it's been fun. Like you kind of mentioned before, my dad says you should be content with what you have, right? And just stop, you shouldn't buy more ground and just be happy with what you got and enjoy it. But I think it's in our blood that, we want to compete, right? You want more.
You want the
more,
rippers
more. Yeah.
running.
You want
yeah,
more. And, maybe it's stupidity. We've had
No, it's not.
We've had the conversation with the kids, and hey, do the kids want to come into the family farming operation? If they do, then yeah, you keep growing, right?
Yeah.
But if they say, I'd rather sell, then you might as well sit time out,
Yeah.
stop, and then let's just reevaluate and be happy with what we got. But it's just to us, we're all my brother, my cousins, we're all fairly young. We're competitive.
Yeah.
We always want to do more.
How was your father when you guys got out? You come out of college. Your brother too.
Yeah.
Right. Were you guys really aggressive in growing the business?
We were trying. At that time, it was difficult.
Okay.
I mean, we came in, the '96. Wine grapes were doing really good.
Okay.
2000. Wine grapes kind of started fumbling. We got hit with a bunch of frost on our wine grapes and stuff, and tripped us up. 01, 02, wine grape prices dropped to like $65 a ton. And to this day, this was probably, a great story for me. Me and my cousin, we both graduated Fresno State in '99. We got married in 2000. 2000, we come in, we get hit with frost. 01, 02, wine grape prices, dropped to $65 a ton. And I mean, $65 a ton. How do you make money at that?
Yeah.
I mean, wine grapes are doing, at that time, you had older wine grapes, 10 tons. You're making $650 an acre. How do you farm at that? You don't. So we had to try to figure out how to keep it going and stuff, and we did. And so to this day, we kind of feel lucky that we were able to do it in a tough time. And then you come into to these times when golden years when almonds are doing great. I go, if I would have came out of college and walked into that situation and said,
I agree with you.
These are like, wow, you're making money. I mean, you just say, do it. I mean, because, you're making money still saying, do it. But we came into a time when you had to tighten your belt.
You remember bad situations.
Yeah. So I'm really grateful that I came into farming in a tough couple of years. And it showed us, hey, how do you stay afloat when you're not making any money?
Yeah.
So it really gave us an appreciation. And then, the good years, you think that's great, but we were here. So
Yeah.
let's strategize and do wise things with what we got.
Absolutely.
So we were fortunate on that, and I think that's helped us. It's helped us.
My problem is I came in when tomatoes were at an all-time high, and then I still want to farm tomatoes. And the last couple of years have been your two frozen years in grapes. It's been a rough couple of weather. It's just like you just never know what the Lord's going to give you. And
that's farming. That's farming. You never know what next year's going to be. So always plan, be conservative, and farm within your means.
Yeah.
And live within your means.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing. And people always say, well, what's your aspect on buying more ground at prices here, this and that? And I go, you know what? Time out. I go, everybody's situation is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Just because so-and-so's buying ground at $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 an acre, and so-and-so's not buying, I go, their situation might be a little different
Absolutely.
than this guy's situation.
Yeah.
So just because he's doing it, don't think that it's a smart decision. His business might be able to, succeed
Support
at
it.
that.
Yeah, you don't know
it because
you don't know
what's
everybody's
happening.
finances.
Yeah, exactly. So don't look, and a lot of people will say, well, all the large guys are buying, so it's a good time to buy and stuff. So, yeah, not really. So don't, base upon that. Do your homework.
You keep talking about wine grapes. Now you're diversified with 6 crops. When did that adjustment happen? Or what was the strategy behind that? Because I believe in diversity.
Yeah. So early on when we started, farming, all of our eggs were in one basket. It was all wine grapes. So, we went through that rough time, and we said, hey, you know what, this is not going to be sustainable. We need to start diversifying. So I want to say in 2004, we started redeveloping a lot of our ground. So we started planting some wine grapes. Some contracts came about. We started planting almonds at that time.
Okay.
So probably 04 to, ever since, we've been, developing ground, pulling out grapes, putting in almonds. And then we got to a point where we started getting to be quite a bit of almonds. And then we started kind of saying, hey, you know what? Maybe a little time out again. We're going the other way now. And, and it was a great ride because those are some of the great years that, almonds were just kind of rising and going and stuff. And we're very fortunate, we're blessed on that. And then we said, hey, we need to start looking at diversification. We started planting some pistachios. We started planting almonds. We got into the citrus business. We bought some properties that we got raisins on. So, keeping it mixed up. And, I still love to farm, a couple other crops if we can, if it's going to be successful. But just to be able to keep that blend going. And the nice thing about that is it keeps you busy. I mean, we're almost farming almost all year long and stuff. We'll be doing citrus harvest here in a couple months.
Yeah.
I mean, we finished up, walnut harvest here, and we'll be going into bloom for almonds here. And, it's just like it keeps you going.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to be bored.
No, you don't. Yeah, you don't want to.
That's when you get lazy. That's when you get lackluster.
Yeah, that, and then farming in different areas, like I was mentioning to you earlier, it really gives you a perspective of different ways of doing things. I mean, you could.
How many county? I mean, what is your spread? I mean, you're farming all the way from Lodi down to Carruthers. What is that
our family
spread?
Goes down to Carruthers area. We farm all the way from up the Lodi area. So, we're 4 different counties, 6, 7 different irrigation districts. And, but, it's good because you get a perspective of what's here, what's there, and what's over here and stuff. And,
I like talking to you earlier. We were talking about where's the next deal. You said you looked in Oregon or whatever. And I think that's the mindset you have to have because some people feel if it's, not next to you, I'm not going to do it, right?
You can't be complacent. And, it's the whole thing of being diversified. So geographically, you got to be diversified as well. So you got to look at it the same way. And I know it kind of probably sucks to say, I can't go all the way over there, but, are you going to let, having somebody being hired up there hold you back? It shouldn't. You shouldn't. You should always put all the cards on the table and look at them. It's like I always tell people, I never say no to a deal. I always want to look at it. I might say no afterwards, but I don't want to say no to a deal right off the get go.
What with managing so much in different geographics, different districts? What's a key that you use? I mean, I see your, I'll call you once in a while if I see you. Like I see your car flying everywhere. What is the strategy for you in managing so many different areas? What is the key behind that for you?
Just trying to get good people.
Yeah.
And
is that hard for you right now?
Yeah, it's hard for everybody right now.
Yeah.
It's hard for everybody right now. And I think Russell one time put it to me. He goes, "Hey, you know what? Hire good young people." And I think we're finally coming about to that portion.
Okay.
To try to find young people and somebody motivated and goes back to me trying to promote ag to young youth and stuff because we need them. I mean, and you go to you go to high schools. I sit on the Liberty High School ag advisors group, for the community college for their ag advisory group and stuff. And we try to tell them that, hey, ag is not just farm labor, driving a tractor, mending to animals. It's becoming technology.
Absolutely.
It's technical work and stuff now. And we need accountants, we need scientists as to be PCAs, agronomists and stuff. And then we need tech guys, engineering tech guys to run drones for us, just like you had it on earlier, the Gus machines, and all these technology driven items that we're purchasing. Everything's computer based. You buy a tractor, you can't work on it.
No.
You gotta
Shuts down.
you gotta have a guy show up with a computer and he plugs it in and pretty much tells you, this is wrong with this wrong, but you can't do it yourself. So we need those people, and so that's why I kind of drive on youth to, hey, we need you to come in, and ag's not the minimum wage paying jobs anymore. I mean, you're making 6-digit figures and stuff now in ag and stuff. So come into ag. There's
How do you feel the perception of young kids are coming into that?
It's starting to change, but you have to spend time with them.
Yeah.
You have to show them. It's not just you talk, and Okay, yeah, whatever. You know, you got to bring them out. You got to bring them out to the farm. You got to show them the equipment, show them what we're doing. And then their eyes open up. And they, wow, hey, that's got that on it. Oh, wow, that's how they do that. And then it opens their eyes and stuff. But if you go into a classroom and lecture to them, you're just like a teacher, right? You're reading from a textbook, and sometimes it's in one ear, out the other ear. But most kids want to see it, and when they see all this fancy equipment, these big tractors, the drones, and all these different settings, and
Opens up a different eye.
oh yeah, and they're like, wow, I never knew that. Wow, I never knew that. So I was able to Madera County did a summer ag camp, and the first 2 years I was we helped host it and everything. And we
Is
brought
that like on your ranch or something? Okay, cool.
So we had a couple different farmers, businesses, and everything, partook in it. And when we first brought them out, we kind of asked them, who all wants to go into ag? And you had maybe like 1 or 2 kids out of like 25, 30 kids raise their hand. After the camp was over, they had like a dinner, and presented awards to these kids. And then afterwards, they talked to kids and said, hey, you know what? After all this experience that you guys have gone through, who now wants to go in ag? And I mean, the amazing amount of hands that went up, because they now understood, oh, there's this. And, we kind of try to give people pay scales of, hey, these kind of, jobs kind of range from here to here. Cool. This one's here to here. It really helped kind of.
And that is high school?
High school, yeah.
Okay.
So it was 7th and 8th graders, going into high school. So that way now they can start preparing. I want to be an FFA. I want to do 4-H. I want to do this. I want to be involved in some of these ag classes and stuff like that. So, great programs, but we need people. We need people. We need growers. We need, ag businesses to get involved and say, hey, we'll open up our doors and stuff. And that's sometimes, reluctant, and it's a shame, but, it is what it is. But we need people to get involved and help out.
Yeah, I think, back when you were in college or myself, it was just kind of, you grew up in it. So you're just going into it. But you were saying now, it's like most kids, I'm going to be a doctor, or I'm going to do this. And that's great, because we need all those people.
Exactly, yeah.
But however, the food supply is the most important thing to this world.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I went to college. I wasn't probably the best in college, but I went to college, and I take that back to kids. I go, hey, not everybody's meant to be a 4-year, degree, spend all that money, not to say they're bad students, but there's a lot of kids that are just good tradespeople, and they would, arise better in that situation.
And have a great life.
And great life, and go, because, I mean, we're needing mechanics, we're needing techs, we're needing, people, in offices. And I mean, we're needing all this stuff, and we don't have them. We don't have them because everybody's trying to go on to higher education, because that's what's being told. Higher education.
And they're not making more money.
Yeah, they're getting debt on top, and then they go back and graduate, and then they're looking for a job. There's no jobs available.
Yeah.
And then they're having to maybe go back and settle, and now life is tougher on them and stuff.
Where do you see, for farming companies, or just the farming industry as a whole, where do you think we need to move more towards that in helping the youth? I mean, you were talking scholarships earlier. I mean, what are we missing? I'm thinking about it from my businesses, just in anything I'm involved with, and people who are listening today. I think people are, what are we not, you can't be the only one doing it. We can't only have, Clay Haynes, he's on your Farm Bureau, and
right.
he's, I don't know how involved he is with the Farm Bureau, but he's always involved with helping the youth and a lot of different things. And I always kind of, not envious, but proud of him that he does that. But it just can't be a few people.
Yeah. No.
And, I guess, what are the challenges?
Industry support, right?
Industry support.
I think internships is probably the best thing,
okay.
Right? I mean, getting kids in and getting their feet wet and learning, doing a little this, doing a little that, job shadowing, trying to get, maybe high schoolers, through counselors to saying, hey, you know what, maybe 1 week or 1 day a month, send me a couple of ag students, and I'll let them job shadow me and just see what we do and stuff like that. And open their eyes up. Hey, look, we might be in the shop in the morning, might be out in the ranch in the afternoon, and midday we might be at a business meeting, making a multi-million-dollar deal, right? And so it's like, man, so he did this, did that, and did that too, So the deals don't happen every day, right? No, they don't. Yeah, they don't. But it hopefully helps these kids to see, wow, man, it's there's a lot of moving things. My kids, when they were going to school, and a lot of their friends would ask, oh, what's your dad do? Oh, he's a farmer. Oh, so you guys got like this big red barn and farm animals and stuff? I'm thinking, my God, that's I mean, sometimes kids think of farming as animals, right? You got
Absolutely.
a couple pigs and goats and sheep and stuff like that.
Or they think that it just shows up on the grocery shelf, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I tell everybody we're agribusiness, right? I mean, we're large scale. We're doing high volume production, and we're trying to keep our costs down and volumes up to feed and fulfill these markets that need that and stuff. So, it's different. It's different from when my dad did it, from my grandfather did it, and my great grandfather did it. I mean, things have changed.
Changing, right? And
Yeah.
so you have kids.
Oh, yeah.
Your son's what, 14, 15 now?
My son's he just turned 19,
19.
sophomore at Fresno State.
Oh, my gosh.
My daughter's 15.
Okay. So I remember the last time I saw your son, he was carrying a basketball. Where from, you're still young and but it's on to the next round with your son. And where do you see it for the 19-year-olds to 25-year-olds? What's the move for these kids right now?
Diversification. I mean, like I say, farming's kind of our bread and basket, but you got to be diversified in business as well, right? So, we farm different crops, different areas and stuff, but I think you need to start looking at, different businesses too, and that's what we tell our kids and stuff. Hey, let's keep this going, but look for other things that we can do. I mean, just because we're farmers doesn't mean that that's all we have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, let's think of ourselves as businessmen,
Yeah.
and, if it's commercial, if it's this, it's that, and we have those aspects now, but let's grow.
Preach opportunity.
Look at different things and stuff. It doesn't have to just be more farm ground.
Yeah.
Other opportunities is great. I mean, it's and we keep plugging them in, and hopefully it just keeps growing and stuff.
Where do you see for, say, a young kid, where do you see the biggest opportunity right now for a young, a 20-year-old who wants to be in farming but has no connections? Where do you see a path for him? I guess again, it comes down to what you're passionate about,
Right.
whether it's trade, whether it's computer science, whether it's agronomy. But where do you really see this going in the next 5 years? Because I know you're, up to date with not only what's happening with the youth, but as well as what's happening in agriculture in general in California.
I mean, I think it's going to go to tech. I mean, this tech thing's taken off, and we have to embrace it. And I think this new generation is more well adapted to it, right? I mean, they're on the par with all these apps and digital. Look at cryptocurrency. I mean, all these different things. I mean,
Stuff scares me.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it does. I told my son, I got him, gave him my stock account. I go, hey, start doing this, and he's been doing great on it.
That's awesome.
And then now he's talking about crypto, and I go, man, this is out of my league, man.
Yeah.
I go, I don't know. I go, it could be bust or it could be gold, So I go, I don't know. I go, let me just stick to what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to try it, go ahead and try it out.
Yeah,
and
that's on
stuff.
you.
Yeah. But, I think all these things in technology, I mean, autonomous, satellites, drones, and that's the future. That's the future. And I think these kids just, look, I mean, you got kids too, right?
Yep.
And I thought I was the techie of my family, right? I knew the computers, I could set it up, this and that. Now sometimes you get an iPhone or iPad, and it's like, hey, how do you do this?
Yeah.
And I got to go ask my kids.
Yeah, son, set it up.
So I'm kind of scratching my head. I'm thinking, I should know how to do that, but I'm like, hey, how do I get around this? And my daughter grabs it. Dad, you do it like this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, so we need to encompass that and let them bring it back to the operations and stuff. So like I tell you, like I said before, you never say no to anything, right?
Yeah.
Just say, let's try it. Let's
Yeah.
try it. I mean, if it fails, it fails, but who cares?
I appreciate that.
Who cares?
I think that mindset is the future of agriculture. I think so many. I think your work ethic and things like that. There's not too many, if you think about it, rich farmers, and the reason being is because they can become so adaptive in their own way. When I look at most of I say rich farmers, they mostly have other businesses that bring on cash flow and things like that. You have to be so ingrained. And what you said earlier, if you don't look at your farm as an agribusiness, it will not become a business. It will become a ball and chain to your ankle, right?
Yeah, you can't just think of yourself as a farmer.
Yeah.
You got to be a business person,
Yeah.
and that's the way, if you want to succeed in the future, I think that's the way you need to look at, especially if you're going to bring in other generations into this
Absolutely.
business. You can't just say farm, farm, farm. You got to say farming, yes, whatever percentage, and what else you bring to the table to make this whole business look
Conglomerate, yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And that's the way you should look at it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a smart way of doing it because farming's it's getting tighter and harder, more regulations,
Yeah.
and it's going to start shrinking with Sigma. So how much more market share can we keep grabbing, right? I mean,
You're right.
there's only going to be so much available, and then that's it. It's going to be
And it
locked.
becomes
It's going to be
more-
locked out.
more
It's gonna be locked-
competitive.
yeah, it's going to be locked out. So
Yeah.
that's when you need to say, let me take some of my funds and go do something
Yeah.
else. We'll keep this going, but let's do something else with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Jay, for coming today. Short notice, and it was
No
fun. I mean, very, how would I say? I'm not always the best with my words. Appreciative of you, and I would consider you a very successful. I look at you as a mentor in this industry. I appreciate what you do for all the youth and trying to help people out, as well as what Creekside has done. I mean, it's just an awesome story, and there is the ability to do it. Look, his grandfather came, great-grandfather, his father, and they have made the steps, and there is opportunity if you want it.
Oh, yeah.
And, Jay, you, I know, have your foot on the grind at all times. And so, again, I want to thank you. I appreciate it, and
Okay.
it was a great time, and we're out.